I had the most votes. Among the names voting for me, Ruyan's was right there. She was the girl I had loved in secret for 6 years. The one I saw as my blazing sun. Yet stroke by stroke, she mocked me for not knowing my place and confessing to her. Years later, a finance channel host interviewed Ruyan and asked if she had any regrets in life. Ruyan looked into the camera and said, "In high school, I failed to recognize a pearl when I had one. By accident, someone else took him from me. For 7 years, I have regretted it day and night. Luckily, he's single now. I still have a chance." The person she meant was having dinner with me. Hearing that, she considerately set down her knife and fork, pushed the sliced Wagyu beef toward me, and said she had to make a call. On the ocean view balcony, she ordered coldly, "Long Sit-Out has reached Series D financing, right? Order Bida Capital, Leary Capital, and Shishang Capital to pull out." The girls in class started to vote for the ugliest boys. When the voting notebook reached my hands, the whole class went silent. The first page was for class heartthrob. The second was for ugliest boy in class. Under class heartthrob, the competition was fierce. Under ugliest boy in class, there was no suspense. It was my name, again and again. There were 21 girls in class. 17 of them voted for me. I knew I was not good looking. Single eyelids, thick lips, dark skin, an outdated haircut, and pimples on my forehead. I knew my place, so I had never dared long for love, much less for Ruyan to like me. But when I saw Ruyan's handwriting, my heart still sank beyond my control. I had known her for 6 years, and loved her for 6 years. I never imagined that the day after I confessed to her, she would humiliate me so openly. Confessing to her was an accident. Back then, I was watching my family's fruit stall at the intersection. Ruyan passed by. I called out to her and handed her a bag of fruit, saying her mother had bought it. Under the street lamp, her long lashes lowered. "Fang Yuan, I don't need pity." She let go, refusing it. I failed to catch the bag. Apples and pears rolled all over the ground, just like her pride back then. Fragile as paper, tearing apart at the slightest pull. I blurted out, "Ruyan, I wasn't pitying you. I like you. That is why I wanted to be good to you." Then I forced a casual tone and said, "So many girls put milk, cookies, and chocolate in your desk. One more won't matter, right?" 3 seconds passed. Or maybe 30. I don't know. At last, she spoke. "I'm sorry. I don't like you." Her rejection was clean. Her departure was effortless. It was exactly what I expected. There was nothing to be sad about. I laughed at myself, picked up the apples one by one, brushed off the dirt, and went back to calling customers to the fruit stall. My home was in the provincial capital's last old bungalow district. It was rundown, crowded, and noisy. People were worn down just trying to survive. No one had the energy to make themselves look decent. Poverty and exhaustion were written on every face. Ruyan was different. Her family had been hit by sudden disaster. Their villa had been mortgaged. That was why she had temporarily moved here. Before that, no one in class knew my mother worked as a nanny for Ruyan's family. She had protected my pride. Now, my reckless confession, the one that made me look like I did not know my place, was also meant to protect hers. Otherwise, I never would have said those feelings out loud. But after I confessed to her, she seemed to change. She went from feeling nothing for me to seeming disgusted by me. In the evening self-study classroom, her handwriting glared painfully at me. The strokes were sharp. The writing matched the person. I turned back to look at Ruyan. She looked back at me coldly. There was not a trace of feeling in her eyes. The blazing sun I once worshipped had become the light inside a refrigerator. Every girl in class held her breath, waiting to see how I would react. If you are ugly and thin-skinned, then you are finished. The ballpoint pen spun fast in my hand. Several times it dropped onto the notebook. I took a deep breath. Then, with one bold stroke, I wrote down my own name. Then I turned and raised the notebook at them. I vote for myself too. If I did not want others to mock me, I had to mock myself first. That night, the girls lowered their heads one after another. After school, several girls who had voted came to apologize. They said it was only a joke. They even said I would look pretty good once my acne cleared. I smiled and told them it was fine, because what they thought of me did not matter to me at all. As for Ruyan, I did not want to care anymore. That evening, I stopped her at the mouth of the alley. I poured out everything I wanted to say. "Ruyan, I once borrowed a copy of Jane Eyre from your family study. There is a line in it I want to give back to you now. Do you think, because I am poor, obscure, plain, and little, that I am soulless and heartless? Clearly, in your eyes, ugly people have no hearts and no right to feel hurt. The ridiculous part is, you are not exactly evil. You tear up over acts of kindness online. You rage at evil deeds in the news. Yet you bully your own classmate without even realizing it. This little evening self-study game, you played it because you thought it was fun. Whether it might hurt someone never mattered to you. I used to think you were different. It turns out you are no different from them. So, Ruyan, I take back yesterday's confession. The girl she used to be was pure as snow on the mountains, bright as the moon among clouds. The girl she was now was painfully ordinary. Nothing special after all. Whether the first was handsome or ugly, someone like her was not worth my love. That day, something different appeared in her usually indifferent eyes, but I no longer wanted to understand it. Not long after, I changed seats. I moved beside by Ningbing, the most unruly student in the whole school. She was the only girl who had not joined the vote. She was also someone Ruyan deliberately avoided. When Ruyan wrote Fang Yuan's name in that cruel, humiliating voting notebook, what flashed through her mind was Fang Yuan smiling at Bai Ningbing. She did not truly think Fang Yuan was ugly. She had seen Fang Yuan without acne. He was not exactly handsome, but he was certainly not ugly. Ruyan's mother had once said, Fang Yuan had a fierce, strikingly distinctive face. Once he grew into his features and learned how to present himself, he might have the makings of an international model. But girls Ruyan's age rarely knew how to appreciate that. Fang Yuan had excellent grades. There was a toughness in him, and a wisdom beyond his years. When others teased or messed with him, he could always diffuse it in a few words. Once, Bai Ningbing treated the whole class to milk tea. A boy teased her, saying, Hey, chubby girl, with all those pimples on your face, maybe you should skip the milk tea. She joked back, If you want a cups, just say so. Do my cleaning duty for me, and I'll give you mine. She did admire him, but romantic feelings were still far beyond her. So, when Fang Yuan confessed to her, Ruyan rejected him. But when she went back and saw his house full of funeral preparations, and the boiled water he had prepared by the door, her heart softened. Afraid he was too devastated, she went out to find him again. Instead, she saw Bai Ningbing in front of his fruit stall. Their classmates only knew Bai Ningbing had a strange temper and gave the teachers headaches. They thought she was just a rich young lady from a comfortable family. Only Ruyan knew what the Bai in her name meant. It belonged to one of the top 3 families. It was the Bai family her father had desperately tried to connect with, yet could never reach. The same Bai family that had refused to lift a finger when her family was in trouble. Bai Ningbing's flashy motorcycle was parked at the street corner. She pulled a book from her bag and tossed it to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan hugged it to his chest like treasure. Then he smiled and handed Bai Ningbing an apple. A polished, beautiful young lady like her not only took it, she did not even wash it. She casually wiped it on her clothes and took a big bite. It was the apple Ruyan had just refused. In the dark, lying on that battered wooden bed, Ruyan watched the figure in the window across from her and thought about that question again. Fang Yuan, was he ugly? She thought. At least when he smiled at Bai Ningbing, he was. Before, he had only smiled at her that way, sincerely, brightly. The moment he parted from the Liu family, he turned around and gave that smile to someone else. Within 2 days of moving beside Bai Ningbing, I regretted it. She was truly, wildly strange. When I carried my school bag over and sat down, she was sleeping with her head on the desk. She woke and gave me a lazy glance. In a muffled voice, she said, Done chasing after Ruyan? I shot back. I was never chasing her. She gave a cold snort. She was the only person in class who knew I had a crush on Ruyan. She had picked up my sketchbook. She did not seem to like Ruyan very much. When she threw the sketchbook back to me, she said, You have terrible taste. A few days after I moved there, it was Valentine's Day. The popular class belles and class heartthrobs received piles of chocolate. Ruyan's desk was stuffed with plenty again. Bai Ningbing stormed into the classroom. Suddenly, she pulled out a box of imported chocolate that was clearly expensive. She said no one at home liked it. So lucky me. I pushed it back. I said I was trying to lose weight. The moment she heard that, she shot up and dumped the chocolate straight into the trash. Then she skipped class and left. Ruyan came over, and for some reason, placed a box of chocolate on my desk too. She said, "This one is sugar-free." The whole class gasped and started teasing. Little Chubby passed me a note. "Damn, you stayed quiet." Then scored a double kill. One campus heartthrob. One school tyrant. Buddy, how did you pull that off? Of course, I was not deluded enough to think by Ningbing and Liu Ruyan like me. Whether it was by Ningbing or Liu Ruyan, they had always belonged to another world. Besides, I was still the publicly acknowledged ugliest boy in class. Liu Ruyan acted that way because her mother had noticed something was wrong between us. Once, I heard Liu Ruyan's mother tell her, "Xiaoyuan is a good child. Even if you do not like him, you should handle it more gently." As for Bai Ningbing, I had no idea. She never did anything by the usual rules. All her strange behavior even started affecting my studies, like drawing on my clothes during class, using my name to draw self-portraits on scrap paper, and racing my bus on her motorcycle after school. Her moods changed in an instant. When she was happy, she would casually toss me a few original language books. She would share good songs with me and bring me little snacks I had never seen before. When she wasn't happy, she would block the aisle between classes and refuse to let me out. During physical education, she once trapped me in the equipment room for the whole class. I once asked her directly, "Bai Ningbing, you keep pulling these childish tricks. Do you like me or something?" She burst out laughing. She laughed until her whole face turned red. "Like you? Not like you? That is beyond childish. I was just bored, all right. You look so pitiful. So I tease you for fun." Still, even though she kept messing with me, I did not hate her at all. The night of that class vote, she stood up and snatched the notebook. After reading it, she flew into a rage. She tore it to shreds. Then she pointed at every boy in class and cursed them out. "You have no taste yourselves, yet you dare judge someone else? Is this something normal people do? Being classmates with people like you is an absolute disgrace. And another thing, let me make this clear. He is not ugly. You are the ugly ones." That night, to me, she was like a hero. A hero I had never expected to appear. Bai Ningbing was a strange kind of legend at school. She skipped class whenever she wanted. She came and went freely, doing whatever she pleased, with no one able to control her. The most irritating part was, her grades were still among the best. My first impression of her was that she loved to play. The first time I ran into her outside school, she was playing with water guns with her friends at a music festival. By accident, she soaked me as I passed by. That day, she took me on her motorcycle and tore around on a wild detour. She said I would drive faster that way. Later, I was assigned to a group for a social research project. Every time our group held a video meeting, she was somewhere different. Sometimes she was in China. Sometimes she was abroad. My first impression of her made me assume that whenever she was not at school, she was off having fun. So when I saw her on the sports channel, I was so stunned I forgot to eat. On television, she held the air rifle steady in both arms. Her expression was focused and calm, like a completely different person. I held my breath as she aimed at the target. Just as she pulled the trigger, Liu Ruyan, who was eating at my house, suddenly stood up and said to my mother, "Annie Wu, my father is coming back from a business trip tonight. Some things at home still are not ready. Could Xiaoyuan come help me?" Liu Ruyan was lying. There was nothing she needed my help with at all. As soon as I entered, she shut the door behind me and trapped me in her room. "Fang Yuan, you saw Bai Ningbing shining so brightly, and now you like her. Is that it? Do you know that during that physical education class, the two of you locked yourselves in the equipment room for the whole period? Do you know how ugly the rumors about you and Bai Ningbing got? Are you and she from the same world? Do you even know what kind of family she comes from? And you still dare reach for her. She does not even need to take the Gaokao. After graduation, she will go abroad. You and Bai Ningbing are nothing but a ridiculous fling. What about you? How filthy will your reputation become? Have you thought about that?" Right then, my phone lit up. It was a voice message from Bai Ningbing. "My little deskmate, did you see how stunning I was? Was I beautiful? I am at your door. Come out. I am taking you for grilled skewers." The old building had thin walls, and her voice was loud. Inside the room, we heard every word clearly. Before I could react, I heard my mother's voice outside. "You are Xiaoyuan's classmate, right? He is across the hall helping at Liu Ruyan's place." After a moment of silence, I heard Bai Ningbing say coldly, "Is that so? Then I will head back first." The alley fell quiet again. But another text popped up on my phone. Fang Yuan. Come out. I am at the mouth of the alley. Liu Ruyan moved closer to me. So close I could only press myself against the wall. She lowered her head, and in a voice close to pleading, whispered by my ear, Xiao Yuan, do not go. Please. When I reached the mouth of the alley, Bai Ningbing was leaning against her motorcycle, helmet in her arms. When she saw me, she said coldly, get on. That day, she rode terrifyingly fast. She tore along for dozens of kilometers until we reached the sea, and only then did she stop. The moment we stopped, she grabbed me and dragged me toward the beach. Her grip hurt. I tried several times to shake her off, but I could not. Bai Ningbing, what the hell is wrong with you? She dragged me all the way to the water before stopping. Then she turned and looked down at me. She kissed you just now. Did she not? My heart shook. I tried to defend myself. Liu Ruyan was close to me just now, but kissing me. How could that be possible? Bai Ningbing reached out and lightly touched the corner of my lips. The shadow on the window. I saw it. I turned my head aside, avoiding her hand. Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing. Why are you always so strange? It was the same last time. During first aid training in physical education class, I was assigned to a group with Liu Ruyan. You immediately moved me to another group. Whenever I say one extra word to Liu Ruyan, you lose your temper. I asked her the same question again. Do you like me? Bai Ningbing's warm, jade-smooth fingertip brushed softly over my lips. Kiss me once, and I will tell you. Under the moonlight, her features shone like stars. Her eyes were deep as pools. Maybe the moonlight was too beautiful. Maybe the sea breeze was too gentle. Maybe her voice was too bewitching. Maybe it was something else. Some string deep inside my heart trembled. I gently clutched her close, rose onto my toes, and moved toward her slightly parted lips, awkwardly leaning in. The moment our lips touched, her whole upper body tensed. One hand cradled my head and pulled me closer. The other wrapped possessively around my waist. She kissed me like she had lost control, biting at my lips and tongue. I do not know how long passed. At last, she let me go. That day, we went back very late. In our hair, on our clothes, there was only the scent of the sea. When Bai Ningbing brought me back to the alley entrance, Liu Ruyan was under the street lamp. Liu Ruyan's father had been discharged from the hospital. Beside the taxi, Liu Ruyan and her mother were helping him upstairs. Liu Ruyan glanced at us. Her expression held a trace of shock. Liu Ruyan's father followed her gaze toward us. When he saw Bai Ningbing, he suddenly became agitated. He tumbled out of his wheelchair onto the ground, crawled to kneel before her, and grabbed her shoes. His voice was hoarse. Miss Bai, I am begging you. Please ask the Bai family to help the Liu group. Liu Ruyan desperately tried to pull her father back. Dad, do not beg her. It is useless. Bai Ningbing coldly pulled her shoe free. She said to me, sleep early. See you tomorrow. Then she got on her motorcycle and roared away. Late that night, I sat before the mirror, looking at myself in the glass. Single eyelids, thick lips, darkish skin. The acne had improved a lot, but I still was not good looking. I thought of that music festival, of all the young men and women around Bai Ningbing. Every one of them was attractive and stylish. Every boy there was better looking than me. By ordinary worldly standards, I was nowhere near worthy of Bai Ningbing. Not in looks, not in family background, not in personal achievement. Seeing Liu Ruyan's father kneel so humbly and beg her, while she could not even be bothered with a polite word, I finally realized how far apart her world and mine were. Far beyond anything I had imagined. I remembered Liu Ruyan's words. If this ridiculous thing between you ends, what about you? Bai Ningbing and I were not from the same world. She was born at the finish line. She could play however she wanted. But I had no path except fighting through the brutal race of the Gaokao. There was no other way. So the next day, when Bai Ningbing came to pick me up after school again, I refused. I said, the Gaokao is almost here. I do not have time to go out and play. She froze for a moment, then said, then we will go study. She took me to her home, a place with guards at the foot of the hill, where the road from the gatehouse to the hillside villa passed over gentle slopes, through woods and broad lawns. Once before, Liu Ruyan's father had taken Liu Ruyan and me hiking, and pointed this place out to us. He said, the people who live in there can change someone else's fate with a single word. Now I was standing here. I was shabby from head to toe. Bai Ningbing held my hand, and without a word of argument, pulled me into her world. she said to the middle-aged man who came to greet us at the door. Uncle Zhang, ask teacher Liang to come over. My boyfriend needs some tutoring. He is only a little weak in the subject. That day, in utter shock, confusion, and unease, I spent the whole day taking physics lessons. All the while, she kept resting her chin in her hand, watching me with amused eyes. From time to time, she poured me water, or brought over a plate of fruit. When it was over, she trapped me in my chair, her breath brushing my ear. Have you studied enough today? If you have, shall we do something else? Blushing, I shoved her away. Your parents must be coming back soon, right? I should go. She lightly bit my earlobe. They are overseas right now. I sprang up at once. Then I really have to leave. She was not angry. She only gave the corner of my lips a light peck, and said, you heartless little thing. Then she picked up a helmet and took me back to Fumin Lane. After she left, I stood at the ruined alley entrance and looked back toward her home. For the first time, I truly understood that we lived across a vast divide. That divide meant nothing to Bai Ningbing, but it was hard for me not to care. Why would she like me? Was I just something new? And how long could that novelty last? I did not know. I could only keep telling myself, live in the present, do not suffer in advance over things that have not happened. I never thought that day would come so soon. It began when Liu Ryan's father came to see my parents. That day, he sat uneasily in his wheelchair, circled around the point for a long time, and finally said what he had come to say. I heard, our Xiao Yuan is dating Miss Bai. Miss Bai likes our Xiao Yuan very much, and gives him whatever he asks for. When my father heard that, his expression darkened. That is not true. My mother wound the yarn in her hands, and said nothing. I explained, Uncle Liu, Bai Ningbing and I are classmates. There is nothing else between us. Liu Ryan's father suddenly grabbed my clothes, and said with difficulty, Xiao Yuan, Uncle Liu treated you well before, didn't he? Help me, please. As long as the Bai family says one word, the Liu group can still be saved. Please speak to Miss Bai for me. Will you? I looked at him helplessly. Uncle Liu, we are still only students. What you are talking about is too big. Bai Ningbing does not have the final say. You still need to find the decision maker in the Bai family. Liu Ryan's father said without hesitation. She is the Bai family's only child. They have been grooming her as their successor for years. The Bai family treasures that daughter more than anything. If she casually mentions it over dinner, maybe our entire group can be saved. Xiao Yuan, this is not just about me. It also concerns your Aniju, Liu Ryan, and the thousands of people working throughout the Liu group. That night, I tossed and turned. My mother had worked as a nanny for the Liu family for 6 years. I had spent 6 years borrowing books from the Liu family's study. Liu Ryan's father and Liu Ryan's mother had always treated me well. They had opened my eyes to so much. A person should be grateful, shouldn't they? That weekend, Bai Ningbing came to take me to her house to study. After agonizing over it for 2 days, I finally spoke up before I left. While I was talking, Bai Ningbing was pouring me water. When I finished, the water overflowed from the cup. It spilled across the table, then dripped onto the floor. Bai Ningbing had her back to me, and her voice was colder than I had ever heard it. The first time you ask me for help, it is for Liu Ryan. Do you even know what the Liu group is being investigated for? And you are already speaking for them? It is economic crime. Do you understand? The people involved are still under investigation. The results are not even out yet, and you want the Bai family to step in now. You really cannot forget Liu Ryan, can you? If that is how it is, then please stop messing with my heart. That day, Bai Ningbing was furious. After that, she did not appear at school for 2 straight weeks. By then, she had become the talk of the school. Everyone knew Bai Ningbing had won the Olympic trials. The girls were all talking about how cool she looked when she shot. Plenty of people also chased after me, asking how I had managed to win her over. When she first came back to school after winning, she roared up on her motorcycle every day to take me to and from school. She never tried to hide it from anyone. When someone asked what her relationship with me was, she answered openly, boyfriend. Isn't it obvious? Now, I looked at the empty seat on my right, and a huge part of my heart felt empty too. Later, I sent her a message to apologize and explain. She never replied. The next time I saw her was at the 100-day Gaokao pledge rally. She walked across the vast school field, with a boy beside her so handsome he seemed to glow. At the time, I was on stage speaking on behalf of all the students. The moment she arrived, the crowd stirred at once. Everyone craned their necks, desperate to look at her. When they saw another boy by her side, they turned to me with gossiping eyes. She and the boy stopped below the stage, and she looked at me as if I were a stranger. I forced back the tears in my eyes, and led every student in the pledge. I was born to be a mountain, not a stream. I will stand among the peaks and look down on ordinary ravines. The students recited the oath with blazing passion. Only she said nothing. That day, she stopped me at the school gate and told me she would go to Stanford for college. I said, "Congratulations. I still want to get into Tsinghua University." She gave a self-mocking smile, put on her helmet, and roared away on her engine. Before the Gaokao, that was the last time I saw her. The next time I saw her, it was on television. At 18, by Ningbing won Olympic gold. The national flag rose for her. The national anthem played for her. She was the one truly standing among the peaks, looking down on ordinary ravines. I quietly put away all the little things she had given me. Then I deleted her contact information. The dream was over. We went our separate ways. Ruyan and I both went to Tsinghua University. After college started, she inexplicably began pursuing me. By then, the acne on my face was gone. My face and body had become more balanced than before. With my hair washed, a little makeup, and more thought put into my clothes, I started turning heads when I went out. I began taking care of myself, not to please others, but to please myself. I wanted to feel more confident and happier. My roommates said I was not handsome in that delicate pretty boy way. I had a more distinctive look, something wilder, a rugged, masculine kind of handsome. I told them I had once been voted ugliest boy in class. They looked completely unconvinced. How is that possible? Photographers go crazy taking street shots of you when you go shopping. Were your classmates some special breed of geniuses? What kind of taste was that? I laughed and said, "If you don't believe me, ask Ruyan, the finance department heartthrob, next time." She voted for me too. That made them explode all at once. No way. Seriously, she did that. And now she is chasing you so openly. Is she out of her mind? I smiled and did not answer. Ruyan's family still made it through. Only the senior executives involved were arrested. Her father was fine. The Liu group also resumed operations. But Ruyan refused to move back to the villa. She kept living in Human Lane. When she came home during breaks, she often came to my place for meals. She tried every possible way to be good to me. As for apologies, she had said them hundreds of times. She said, "Back then, jealousy clouded my head. That is why I did such a horrible thing. Every day you were with by Ningbing, my heart felt cut to pieces. I could not sleep, night after night. Every time I saw you smile at her, I felt like the pain would kill me. Give me one more chance, please." I accepted her apology, but not her confession. Some things, once missed, are simply missed. Some feelings, once gone, are simply gone. But she refused to give up. Apart from her studies and her startup, she spent all her time and energy on me and on my family. She said she believed persistence could wear down stone, turn iron into a needle, fill the sea, and move mountains. I said, "Stop romanticizing your own persistence." In my junior year, my life reached two major turning points. First, Human Lane was demolished for redevelopment. My parents no longer had to worry about their future. Second, I signed with an international modeling agency. I earned my first real money. After appearing in runway shows big and small, at home and abroad, more and more people began to like me, but I had no desire to fall in love at all. My roommate teased, "Could it be that you met someone dazzling when you were young? So now it is hard to feel anything for anyone else." By Ningbing's smiling face surfaced in my mind. I had not seen her in a long time, but I had always kept up with her updates. One of my roommates was her die-hard fan. Every now and then, he would post her Instagram updates in the group chat. She still loved chasing thrills. On her social media, everything was a record of extreme sports around the world. Rock climbing, surfing, alpine skiing, free diving, wingsuit flying. The list went on. Once, during a wingsuit flight, she hit strong winds and almost had an accident. Yet she still seemed reckless with her life and kept doing those extreme sports. In her updates, no romantic partner ever appeared. My roommate said that was one reason fans were so drawn to her. The closest I came to her was when she was invited to Tsinghua University for a public talk. That time, I clutched the ticket in my hand and stood outside the auditorium. But in the end, I did not go in. when I truly saw her again. It was 3 years after graduation. By then, I had founded my own art exhibition studio. I was still working as a model too. Once, I went to Milan for Prada's new product runway show. Then I saw by Ningbing's Instagram location was also Milan. For no reason, my heart began to race. I hoped we would meet, yet I was afraid of it too. The spotlights came on. I stepped onto the runway. After so many years, I saw her again. Below the runway, the collar of her black shirt was slightly open. Her sleeves were casually rolled up. Every movement carried wealth, grace, and allure. She was nothing like the girl from high school. When I saw her, she was tilting her head, talking to the boy beside her. I had seen that boy 7 years ago. He was still beautiful enough to glow. She took off her jacket and handed it to him. Then she unscrewed a bottle of water for him. She looked at him and smiled. Her eyes curved softly. She was gentle as moonlight. A match made in heaven. A perfect couple. How naive I had been to hope that because she had never posted anyone on Instagram, it meant she had no boyfriend. 7 years had passed. I thought I had already quit her. But the moment I saw her tenderly caring for another boy, tears suddenly slid down for no reason at all. Crying at a runway show was a serious mistake. Who could have known that shot of me turning back with tears in my eyes would go viral beyond the fashion world? The whole internet was discussing what this heartbreaking figure had lived through in that instant. Some bloggers even analyzed my movements and expressions in slow motion. What was the theme of this show? Transformation. Look closely. When Feng Yuan first came out, that presence, that confidence, had lethal impact. Around the middle of the runway, his smile suddenly turned shy, much softer than before. But when he moved forward to the mark, there was a hint of self-mockery in his smile. Then came that iconic turn back. His eyes looked shattered. One tear fell at exactly the right moment. Yet his smile looked released. It vividly showed how a heart goes from freedom to confusion, then to breaking, then to healing, and finally to rebirth. It perfectly embodied the theme of transformation. What do you call that? Professionalism. The top comments piled up past 10,000 replies. Little did they know, modeling was only this gorgeous man's side career. His own art exhibition company was also an industry leader. Besides, he did his undergraduate degree at Tsinghua University, then earned an MBA from Peking University. An academic ace really walks the runway differently. In 30 seconds, he told an entire story with his eyes. His looks are so distinctive. At first glance, I did not think he was that handsome. But somehow, you cannot stop looking again and again. Oh no, I am falling for him. By a twist of fate, with all that momentum behind me. After my International Fashion Week debut, I was invited into the main banquet hall at the celebration dinner. In an instant, I saw by Ningbing again. I held a glass of wine and wore a perfectly polite smile. I moved among celebrities and tycoons from all over the world, being praised, being seen, being flattered, being stared at. None of it mattered. I had my own purpose too. From the moment I entered, Bai Ningbing's gaze stayed on me. I pretended not to notice. I moved among all kinds of women with effortless ease. I smiled freely. I allowed those women who held money and power to treat me as someone worth chasing. I knew exactly what I was doing. And in a place like this, I knew how to get what I wanted without paying a higher price. Glass followed glass. Dance partners changed one after another. During the 7th dance, Bai Ningbing wrapped her arms around my waist. That familiar voice sounded beside my ear, threaded with anger. Feng Yuan, you are doing this on purpose, aren't you? Trying to get my attention on purpose. Trying to make me angry. I rested my hand lightly on her shoulder. My gaze was hazy. Yes, I am doing it on purpose. In this glittering world of wealth and indulgence, some people are fish, and some are fishermen. Who here did not come on purpose with something in mind? She gripped my neck hard, pulling me a little closer. A few years apart, and you have learned to speak in riddles. A few years apart, and Miss Bai has learned to throw accusations around. She fixed on my eyes like a hawk. Her grip grew even more domineering. Where is Liu Ruyan? Why didn't she come with you to Milan? I asked her in return. What about your date? Did he not come tonight? So at the runway show, you did not see me. I had lost that round. I stopped talking, and only turned with her rhythm. When the song ended, she pulled me onto an empty terrace. The wind was a little cold. I took off my jacket and draped it over her shoulders. She did not refuse. After a few drinks, she finally spoke. That tear. Who did you shed it for? Who do you think? She silently looked into the distance and said slowly, for one moment, I thought it was for me. I was just about to answer when her date came after us. He looked at me with confusion in his eyes. Ningbing. Who is this gentleman? By Ningbing was silent for a moment before introducing us. Fang Yuan, my high school classmate, and my ex-boyfriend. He Qiang, my childhood friend from Beijing, and my fiancé. In that instant, a night wind blew over us, cold enough to cut to the bone. He Qiang greeted me openly and easily. So, you are Mr. Feng. A pleasure to meet you. I have heard a lot about you. Ningbing misspoke. I am not her fiancé yet. The engagement is not until the end of the month. His gaze flicked over the jacket on Bai Ningbing's shoulders. Bai Ningbing instantly panicked and tried to take it off. But somehow, it got caught. She could not get it off no matter what. Bai Ningbing's face flushed bright red. Her hands fumbled helplessly. She looked utterly flustered. I thought I would never witness a more awkward scene in my life. I smiled and nodded. I offered my congratulations. I still have something to do. I will leave first. There is a lyric that says, when your heart asks for nothing, you are free whether the wind blows or not. For what was never meant to be mine. Besides letting go, what else could I do? I returned to the banquet. I met the people I needed to meet. I secured the resources I needed to secure. That night, I obtained private contact information from many social elites and power players. I also received collaboration offers from several major international brands. After returning to the hotel, my eyes blurred with drink. I instinctively reached into my pocket for my phone. The screen lit up. The lock screen was a photo of me. I entered the password and unlocked it. I wanted to call my assistant, but realized his number was not saved. Just as I was wondering why, a call came in. My phone is with you. Can you give it back? I was already drunk. How would your phone be with me? Nonsense. The phone you are holding right now is mine. Where are you? I will come get it. I am. I touched the quilt beneath me and mumbled, in bed. She was silent for a long time. Then she said hoarsely, where are you? At Bulgari. That night, the alcohol blurred me, but made everything clear to her. For my flight back to Beijing, the airline informed me I had been upgraded. It was not my first upgrade, but an upgrade that changed the entire plane was a first. An empty shuttle bus took me to the aircraft. Only after boarding did I realize it was a private jet. I already had my answer. Sure enough, the only passenger inside was Bai Ningbing, reading financial reports. What is this supposed to mean? She lifted her eyes to me. It is on the way. I am taking you back home. I found it almost funny. You are getting engaged at the end of the month, and now you have left your fiancé behind to take me home because it is on the way. She answered, yes. I turned and was about to get off the plane. Of course, I would not let myself get dragged into a messy relationship that hurt everyone involved. But the cabin door had already closed. Sit down. Fasten your seatbelt. Then we will discuss a business deal. I was a little stunned. So, she wanted to discuss something serious. She said, the Bai family is donating a collection of cultural relics to the National Museum of China. They were all recovered by her over the past few years in Europe and the Americas. Some had been dispersed into private hands and taken in by her. Some were bought at high prices at auctions. Others were donated by wealthy Chinese businesspeople overseas. There were 361 pieces in total. This collection of cultural relics would have its own dedicated exhibition. She said, I want your company to handle it. I held back the huge surge in my chest. I agreed at once. She smiled and said, you are agreeing before we have even discussed the commercial terms. Even if I had to pay out of pocket for this, I would still fight to take it on. The principle that its social value far outweighed its financial value was not lost on me. When do we sign the contract? To show my sincerity, I opened my laptop right there and started drafting a proposal. While working through the concept, I even asked her a beginner's question. Are all those cultural relics on this plane? No, they would not fit, I said, disappointed. Not one of the treasures you recovered is here. I was hoping to feast my eyes on them first. She drew her gaze away from the iPad. Then she looked up and fixed her eyes on me. There is one piece. I have to keep it with me before I can feel at ease. I quickly asked, what is it? She asked in return. You are so clever. Can you not guess? Could it be the long-lost legendary imperial jade seal of Qin Shi Huang? After the plane landed, she gave me no chance to argue and took me straight into a Porsche Cayenne. Then we drove all the way to a villa. The moment I showed the slightest hint of resistance, she would ask, "Do you still want to sign the contract?" Inside the empty villa, food had already been prepared on the long dining table. We sat on opposite sides. By Ningbing pushed the contract in front of me. "Answer 3 questions honestly. Not only this cultural relic exhibition, but every art exhibition under Baishi fashion from now on will all be yours." There was such a good deal. I said at once, "What questions?" "I promise to be completely honest." "Ask me." She opened a bottle of wine and poured me half a glass. "Who was that tear for?" I took the glass. Looking into her eyes, I answered honestly, "For you. For myself. For our love that ended without closure." Hearing that, she froze for a moment. Then she suddenly drank the entire glass. I smiled faintly and drank one with her. "Next question. Tell me, back then when you chose to help Ruyan, have you regretted it all these years?" I filled her glass again. Then I said calmly, "I never chose her." She looked at me in disbelief. "The rule is that you have to tell the truth." "That is the truth. I never chose her. Even when I pleaded for the Liu family back then, it was for her parents' sake. I had let her go long ago. But you never believed me. You have not been with her these past 7 years." "No." Suddenly, she seemed almost unable to breathe. She began gasping hard. Then she burst into laughter. She laughed until tears spilled from her eyes. In the end, she drained her glass again. I drank with her once more. Then I asked her, "What is the 3rd question?" "Eat with me first. We will talk after dinner." "All right." And so we began a long, silent dinner. She served me dish after dish. Her movements were proper and elegant. She was worlds apart from the carefree girl back then, the Ningbing who would bite straight into the apple I handed her. She was like a completely different person. I felt stifled. So I asked if she could turn on the television in the living room nearby, just to have some noise in the room. The television flickered on. It was tuned to a finance channel. Ruyan's voice suddenly rang through the empty living room. The host was interviewing her. By then, Ruyan was already a rising star in finance, the president of Huanyu Group. The host asked whether she had any regrets in life. Ruyan looked into the camera and said, "In high school, I failed to recognize a pearl when I had one. By accident, someone else took him from me. For 7 years, I have regretted it day and night. Luckily, he is single now. I still have a chance." The someone else she mentioned was eating dinner with me. Hearing that, Ningbing set down her knife and fork like a perfect lady. She pushed the sliced Wagyu beef toward me and said she had to make a call. I got up to turn off the television. The sea breeze blew in. I could hear her clearly. Out on the ocean view balcony, she gave a cold order about the financing for Long Sidao. Have Bida Capital and Shisheng Capital withdraw all investment. After the call, she returned to the dining table. "Xiao Yuan, the last question. Think carefully before you answer." I nodded solemnly. "Do you want me to cancel the engagement?" He Qiang never quite understood Ningbing. Why had she fallen for Fang Yuan back in high school? He had gone with her to the school once to see him. He looked like an ordinary person. His build and looks were decent. His grades were good. His family background was average. Among ordinary people he might have stood out, but beside Ningbing, he was still nowhere near her league. Only Ningbing knew why. The first time Ningbing saw Fang Yuan, it was at the scene of an accident. That day, a construction worker in his early 20s fell from a building under construction, 6 meters up. His thin chest was pierced by exposed steel rebar. He did not die on the spot. Instead, he stood on tiptoe, suspended on the rebar. He vomited blood while wailing for his mother. The scene was far too bloody. Every passerby was thrown into panic. No one knew what to do. They could only watch that poor young man helplessly, as more and more blood poured from him. Some sighed in sorrow. Some covered their faces and cried. Some could not bear to look anymore. While Ningbing was calling emergency services, a boy with a school bag and plain clothes rushed out. He strained to hold the blood-soaked construction worker. He lifted and supported him, giving him something to brace against, something to lean on, so he would not have to stand on tiptoe by himself. He said softly, "Do not be afraid. It will be all right. The doctors will be here soon. Hold on a little longer." He wanted him to hurt a little less. He wanted him not to die so alone. That day, the construction worker called for his mother again and again, crying that it hurt, and died in his arms. When the construction worker took his last breath, Fang Yuan was covered in blood. Back then, he was only in his 2nd year of high school. She thought of Chairman Mao's words. While hard ice still covered the northern sea, I saw plum blossoms in full bloom. A soul as burning as his was something she had never seen. From that day on, the boy named Fang Yuan walked into Bai Ningbing's heart and never left again. For him, she transferred to a public high school. Not long after she arrived, she discovered he already had someone he liked. He had an entire sketchbook filled with drawings of Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan. What had she ever done to deserve that? She had even taken part in that boring, disgusting class vote and insulted his looks. When he changed seats to sit beside her, Bai Ningbing felt heaven had finally answered her prayers. She began trying every possible way to be good to him. She asked him, "Do you like me?" Bai Ningbing had never been so nervous and tongue-tied in her life. He always seemed to think she only knew how to run around having fun. She thought she had to let him see the brilliant side of her. So she deliberately told him when the Olympic trials broadcast would air. She even waited downstairs from his place, wanting to take him out for skewers and hear him praise her. But he was at Liu Ruyan's house. The two figures behind the window were standing so close together. It drove her mad with jealousy. Her upbringing held back the urge to charge upstairs and tear them apart. She stood at the alley entrance, counting each second. Her thoughts seethed like they were frying in boiling oil. The moment she saw him, she could not hold back anymore. That night, she kissed him. She kissed him with every bit of strength she had. And just like that, they were together. But she had no sense of security at all. He went along with her, yet he never showed that he liked her. Compared with the way he had liked Liu Ruyan before, it was not even in the same league. When he begged her to help the Liu family, the last taut string in her heart snapped. So it had all been for Liu Ruyan. In all Bai Ningbing's life, she had never felt such defeat. He sent a message saying, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you in a difficult position. And I didn't do this for Liu Ruyan." How could she possibly believe that? Those softly drawn sketches, those moments when he secretly glanced at Liu Ruyan from time to time, she had seen them all. When she went back to school, he stood on stage giving a speech. Liu Ruyan stood at his side, looking at him tenderly. She stopped him at the school gate and asked if he was aiming for Tsinghua University. He nodded, so he still wanted to attend the same university as Liu Ruyan. And so, Bai Ningbing let go. She threw herself completely into pre-competition training for the Olympic trials. On the day she won, she still could not help sending Fang Yuan a message. Onward and upward. I heard you got into Tsinghua University. Congratulations. He had already deleted her. Why? Just because she had refused to help the Liu family? In the end, Bai Ningbing still went to her father about the Liu family. If Fang Yuan really meant to bind himself to the Liu family for life, then nothing could be allowed to happen to them. Fortunately, Liu Ruyan's father was not involved in the case. The matter was resolved fairly smoothly. Liu Ruyan came to thank her. Out of politeness, the two added each other on WeChat. From that day on, Bai Ningbing would sometimes see, in Liu Ruyan's WeChat moments, glimpses of Fang Yuan. His college life seemed exciting, and he was visibly growing more handsome. She secretly went to see him a few times, but never dared let him notice her. When she was invited to Tsinghua University for a public talk, she still went through a professor to submit his name. But he did not come. That seat stayed empty all night. They say there are countless illnesses in this world, but longing is the one no cure can heal. Bai Ningbing learned that truth to the bone. The day Liu Ruyan made it official on WeChat moments that she and Fang Yuan were together, Bai Ningbing was about to go wingsuit flying. Her friends urged her not to jump. She jumped anyway. Midway, she hit unstable air currents. For one instant, she wondered, if something really happened to her, would he ache for her and cry? After that, she stopped looking at Liu Ruyan's WeChat moments. Back then, she never doubted those posts were real. She did not know how many schemes someone could invent just to possess another person. All she knew was, she had never missed someone so much, while also dreading the sight of him. The thought that he would never belong to her drove her to despair. Her restless obsession and unease could only be released through extreme sports. Everything changed. At the Milan runway show, Fang Yuan looked at himself, his eyes bright and sorrowful. When that tear slipped from his eye, Bai Ningbing's entire worldview was overturned. Why was he crying? Could it possibly be for her? Was there a place for her in his heart? She needed the answer. On the banquet terrace, she asked once. Beside the corridor at the Bulgari Hotel, she asked again. He was drunk then, clinging to her neck as he said, "In this world, the one who can make me cry is only one person. That person is too far away from me. I chased her with everything I had. I finally managed to close the distance a little. But she is about to get married. Ningbing was first stunned, then confused, before it slowly turned into wild joy. The answer was almost obvious, but those were words spoken while drunk. She needed to hear him answer clearly, fully awake. Ningbing asked me 3 questions. In truth, they were all the same question. Do you love me? Her expression was so cautious, so uneasy. Everything was plain as day. I looked into her eyes and asked the only thing I still did not understand. What exactly is your relationship with He King? Answer my question first. I need to know exactly what you are to him before I can answer that. Do not worry about that. Just tell me. Do you want me to cancel the engagement? She stared at me stubbornly, recklessly demanding an answer. I took a deep breath and answered seriously. Yes, I want you to cancel it. I do not want to watch you marry someone else. My words were sealed by her kiss. Forceful, fierce, as if she wanted to devour everything. It was revenge, and it was also a demand for what she was owed. I still had a few shreds of reason left, and reminded her about He King. So she kissed me again and again, while calling He King. She put it on speaker. He King's voice rushed out eagerly. Old sis, how did it go? Did it work? If he got jealous, then he definitely has feelings for you. Tell me my whole setup was genius. And what about what you promised me? Ningbing said. That little peacock you like. I will invest in a variety show, so he can stay with you in the mountains for 2 months. That night, the moonlight was soft, and the sea breeze was damp. At my ear, each whispered word drew me on more urgently than the last. May I? Moonlight spread inch by inch. The waves washed in, one after another, into my ears, into my body, into my heart. The shadows on the wall tangled with the moonlight. Little by little, we sank into that endless tenderness. I remember the first time I saw her at school. It was the winter of our 2nd year. Heavy snow fell in huge flakes. I had finished classroom duty and left to take out the trash. She stood under the hallway light, holding a few books. The dim yellow light fell across her face, like a painting. She said, Hey, classmate, are you in class 1, 2nd year? I am a transfer student. My name is Ningbing. Do you need a desk mate? I remembered the time I twisted my ankle playing basketball and lay across my desk in pain. She passed by and casually slipped me a box of painkillers. I remembered all the times I glanced back in class without thinking and caught her eyes as she hurriedly looked away. I remember the first time she left everyone behind and took me for a ride. Her back looked nervous, yet she could not hide her joy. But back then, I was trapped inside the word ugly. I never dared believe anyone could simply like me for no reason. Even though she showed her feelings again and again through her actions, I still could not fully believe it. I never imagined. She was just like me. Just like me, she was anxious and terrified in love, with no confidence at all. What foolish, ridiculous people we were. But thankfully, after all those twists and turns, we did not miss each other in the end. Later, when a reporter interviewed me, they asked if missing each other for 7 full years was a deep regret. Ningbing answered without hesitation. Of course, I nodded, then shook my head. It was a regret, and yet it was not. In high school, when I saw her shine, I felt dim beside her. She had already grown into a towering tree. I was only a seed. Without those 7 years of forcing myself, step by step, to break through the soil and grow toward the sun, I could not stand before her now as an equal, with real confidence, and calmly accept her love. The reporter then asked, We heard Wanyu Group's president, Ruyan, has recently made frequent public declarations of love for Mr. Fang. Not long ago, she even invited Mr. Fang to endorse the company's entire product line. Ningbing looked into the camera. This part airs tonight, right? The cameraman nodded. Ningbing pulled out 2 red marriage certificates. Ruyan, look closely at what these are. Harass my husband again, and I will stop playing nice. You had better think very carefully. I said, cut that part. It makes us look like children squabbling. It is beneath your dignity. I do not care. Are you sure you want her in the video where we announce our marriage? She thought about it. Then she quickly shook her head. Before the wedding, while we stood in the sea breeze on the terrace, I asked her a question buried deep in my heart for a long time. Ningbing, back in high school, didn't you think I was uncool and ugly? Back then, all the boys in class thought I was ugly. She answered, The first time I saw you, you were holding that blood-soaked construction worker. You were so dazzling then that I did not dare look straight at you. After that, I watched your profile for an entire year. You will never know how many times you entered my dreams. I understood these things early. I knew the standards for beauty and ugliness were changeable and subjective. Judging people by appearance is crude and shallow. I also knew a beautiful face would eventually be swallowed by time. But a beautiful soul never fades. Most importantly, you have to believe that the person I chose must be one in a million.